Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, spring training is just a few days away. I figured a good time to have a little bit of a check-in episode, go over some of the dates there, the important dates of who and what's going to report. And, of course, some news going on in the Yankee land, not too much. Obviously, Jason Dominguez upgrading his jersey numbers, if you didn't hear that. And plus a little rekindling of the spat between Brian Cashman and Gleyber Torres of that whole issue last season when they got Jazz. Gleyber supposedly was asked to move to third. He refused to do it. Anytime there was a rumor, and it was kind of a little bit of a little tiff there. So it looks like that got kind of rekindled again a little bit, so kind of get into the whole thing. But before we get started, we've got the whole spring training ahead of us, and of course the entire 2025 baseball season. If you want to subscribe to this podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast, get updated with things, and of course get my takes on things. And I'm right about 68% of the time, so it's not too bad. Then I'll admit it. And also there's a YouTube version of this show, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. Make sure you subscribe there as well. I'm not probably updated as frequently here. Get to have a couple of interviews done over the past couple of weeks. One is a book author. Want to check that out, as well as another Yankee podcaster. So those they're available for your public consumption. So yeah, I guess we'll just run down the official schedule. I think I might have done it on the YouTube version of the show, but never really done it here. But we'll nail down the dates. So pitches and catches report. That's Tuesday, February 11th, and they have their first full squad workout the 12th. So that's Wednesday, and then the position players are due to report on the 16th, and then of course the day later on the 17th is when they have their first official workout. And of course, kind of all like previous seasons, a lot of the Yankees are already down there ready, don't put in the work and all that stuff. But again, those are the official dates when you have to show up. And of course, the non-roster invites, will be there as well. And there's a list there of notable names. So I'm not going to read the whole list there, but maybe just want to, obviously these are players who were signed to like minor league deals or are in the minors there, but getting invited to the big camp. Maybe the names that'll stand out, of course, from last season, Spencer Jones, who, again, obviously he's probably not going to be ready for the majors yet, but of course everyone's going to keep an eye on him. Andrew Velasquez, the Squid, as well as Dom Smith, the former Met, who the Cashman kind of took off the scrap heap there during the offseason. If you want to look at some pitchers, obviously Carlos Carrasco, who mentioned Yankees signed to a minor league deal, the 38-year-old, trying to maybe kind of go out in style with his career there. Again, not a good season last season there. Colton Brewer, that was kind of one of the Cashman merry-go-round experimental arms there. Probably about maybe Christian Hernandez, but other than that, none of the other names really stick out there. So they'll get an opportunity to see if they could shine and make the big club starting April. Again, I can't see Carrasco unless there's a situation where someone gets hurt there. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch. Dominic Smith will be interesting to look at, just maybe again as a possible backup first baseman. And of course, Andrew Velasquez. Again, we know we could do it with his glove there. Is there really a room for him on this team there if he can't hit? I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, because again, the Yankees are kind of a bit of a plethora of infielders there with, Oswaldo Cabrera, Peraza, Jazz floating around there. So let's see if there's a spot for Velasquez on this team ultimately. And as I mentioned earlier, at the top there, Jason Dominguez, changing now that number 24 is available since Verdugo left. Taking number 24, kind of mixed feelings on it. Again, I'm kind of a baseball traditionalist, so at first I didn't love the whole idea that Judge used to be 99 and Clint Frazier was 77, but then it kind of grew on me a little bit. It was this kind of a funky thing of the new guys and having these weird numbers. So I actually kind of didn't mind the Jason Dominguez having the 89 there, and I figured this is something he just went with it, because again, if no other baseball player in the history of sports is known as 89, I mean, if you could rock it there, that's your number. If he has a great career ahead of him. So 24 is kind of ho-hum. I understand it's more of a baseball number and kind of, it makes yourself look a little more serious. But yeah, it's been a bit of merry-go-round. Verdugo had it. Obviously, Tino Martino's had it. Robinson Cano had it. So it's like it's made its rounds. But again, I guess he wants to kind of make himself like, when you have a number like that, it's like you're still like a minor leaguer. So maybe it's a mental thing like, all right, I'm here. I'm on the big show. This is a serious baseball number 24. Judge obviously is a freak of nature situation there, so I guess maybe this makes more sense for him to have the 99. But nevertheless, Dominguez taking that now that 24 is available, and also taking Verdugo's job there in left field. And of course, I mentioned before the second thing is the little spat between Brian Cashman and Gleyber Torres. Now, Brian Cashman gets on the Yes Hot Stove show there. Kind of just going to mention that last season they had that issue when they got Jazz here. The initial plan was to have Jazz play second base, because he's a natural second baseman. At least that's how he came up with the Marlins, and they wanted to move Gleyber Torres to third base. We did cover this last season. I remember it was a thing a little bit, but I guess Gleyber took exception that Cashman's even bringing this up again. Now, of course, we know Gleyber right now with Detroit Tigers signed a 1-year deal, and he kind of put out on his ex profile saying, like, why are you still talking about this, bro? It was like a kind of a small thing where he used a couple of words and emoji, but it's like, why is still bringing this old news still up there? Let it go. Sort of like let it go. It's old news, stuff like that. So, Gleyber, didn't really say anything nasty, but, at the same time, kind of went after Cashman like that one. And you could pretty much, guarantee that I don't think Gleyber Torres will ever be back with the Yankees. At least with Brian Cashman as the GM, after that. And I know back in the past, Brian Cashman and Stroman had some little back and forth a little bit back a few years ago, and ultimately Cashman did sign him here at the beginning of last season. I just had to feel the whole way they just had no interest in bringing Gleyber back, and just little things like that, just not being a team player and a little that, and just having some of his doldrums, his defensive cues and stuff like that. It seemed like his head was in the game. Now, I could understand his argument a little bit, just because if you remember, when the Yankees first brought him up, he was a second baseman, and then they got rid of Didi. They made the switch to shortstop, and he just collapsed in 2021. He was just not the same player. It was not working out for him. He was even worse defensively. It wasn't until they put him back to second base that he kind of recovered a little bit. And I can say maybe he figures, look, it's a new position. I'm not good at this, and it's going to affect me on the field, and then it's going to affect me at the plate. And I can understand it, but still, you're kind of supposed to kind of do the whole, let's be a team player thing. If you remember when A-Rod came here, he was willing to move to third base just to make it happen. So you see a lot of players kind of like, hey, coach, kind of like Cody Bellinger, sort of like when he first came, he told Boone, hey, I'll play any outfield position you want. Whatever you need to do, you're kind of supposed to have that sort of, take on, and not sort of like, when he was asked, Gleyber Torres was like, no, I'm a second baseman and that's it. That type of attitude, it's just, you just knew that, and some other things that you knew they were going to bring him back. And again, I just don't see a situation where he ever would be back as long as Brian Cashman is still the GM there. So that was that whole little spat there. So kind of a quickie episode. So we wait till Tuesday and pitchers catchers report and see how it goes there. And then before you know, we'll have some spring training games underway. Catch you next time.